Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas will be held on Tuesday, February 19th, 2008, beginning at 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Federal Building located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Workshop, item A, discussion regarding $40 million commercial paper refunding plan.
Excuse me, Stella, before we do that, if you don't mind, we have a canine that's out there that maybe we can do the presentation.
Proclamation?
The proclamation, if you don't mind. As per the request of the Brownsville's finest PD.
Okay. Just do it gently so you can take it apart. Would you like for me to read that proclamation?
Sure, thank you.
Have they come in yet?
Oh, wait 1 second, he's coming. Oh, he's gonna go downstairs and bring the dog, yeah.
So you want to get to the first presentation, that's fine. We've got executive.
You have several workshop items.
Yes.
We'll do the first workshop, that's fine. Is that okay with you? Okay, yeah.
Is my opinion coming?
Let's go.
Hi, Larry Jordan with the Strident Hosting Company, here representing the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. John Brusiak and Leandro Garcia are also here. And we've had some conversations with Pete Gonzalez, the city's finance director, so that he's also aware of what we're talking about. This is just a briefing item. There's no action tonight. Step back a little bit and give you some background. In 2004, when the PUB had the opportunity to purchase an additional interest in the Oakland Union plant, we were in a situation where we had a real short window of time. We had to come up with a lot of money, about $45 million, to purchase an interest in the plant. And the plant is a coal-fired plant, and most of PUB's generation is natural gas. And of course, with gas prices being what they are, purchasing an additional interest in a coal plant was very attractive. So we used, at the time, what's called a commercial paper program. It's basically like a line of credit that the PUB had, where that was the quickest way and a relatively inexpensive way for them to get that money secured quickly. We did borrow approximately $45 million through the commercial paper program. That money was put in an escrow account until the purchase was resolved. And as long as it was in the escrow account, it was earning interest, and it was a good situation for PUB. At the time that we did the restructuring, where we reset all of PUB's debt, we really agreed that ultimately, when the facility came online and became a permanent part of our generating plant, that we would also make the debt a permanent part of our debt portfolio. So what the PUB is looking to do now is to basically refund the commercial paper notes with long-term bonds. This is, there's no new debt here, it's just a refunding. We've anticipated doing this, and we've built the financial position accordingly, so there's no need for new rates increases. And so the PUB board considered this last week and is recommending it to you. We put in your packet a timetable where you can see over the next month or so we'll be putting together documents, talking to the rating agencies, negotiating with the underwriters. We expect to be back to you around April 21st, and then to actually close on the refunding bonds in late May. And at that point, again, the approximately now $40 million that was in commercial paper will be in long-term debt. There's two other things that are sort of going on at the side that we want to mention. One is that an additional reason for paying down the commercial paper program is to free up that line of credit for other projects. And that's really the way that commercial paper has historically been issued. Without commercial paper, what you'll do is borrow money, let's say $10 million, and over time, you'll have projects and you'll spend it down slowly. But of course, that whole time that you're spending down the money, you're paying interest on it. Commercial paper is what's called interim financing. First, it allows you to go ahead and let the contract just based on the fact that you have the ability to borrow the money. You don't have to borrow the money yet. When it's time to pay the contract, then you borrow the money, but you don't have to borrow the whole amount. You borrow only what you need to pay the contract. And so then, after you've accumulated a certain amount of the notes, you would take that to long-term debt and then start all over again. So the benefit to the ratepayers is that you delay the issuance of the debt, you benefit from what are normally lower short-term rates, and you're not paying all that interest on all that money that you're basically warehousing. We don't expect that PUB is going to have to issue any additional notes until 2009 or so, and we don't expect that they're going to have to refund those until sometime after they start issuing them. There's one other item sort of out of the headlines that we wanted to mention. You might be hearing with all the discussion about credit crisis and monoline insurance companies and subprime debt. Basically, the companies that have always insured municipal bonds, these are names like AMBAC, MBIA, FIGIC, FSA. Those companies also got involved in some of the more speculative areas, so they're under increasing scrutiny. And we're in the process of looking at PUB's debt as well as our other clients, and just making sure that we know how everything unfolds if one of the insurance companies were to get downgraded. In PUB's case, there is an issue that's been insured by MBIA, and MBIA has been put on credit watch. So we're in the process of working with the attorneys to determine, whether or not that's going to create a problem, what kind of problem it might create, and what our alternatives might be. Certainly, in the long run, we have the ability to fix that debt out as well. So we don't expect any major problems in the long run. In the short run, until things get sorted out, the interest rate markets are a little spiky, and we hit a little bit of turbulence. Anyway, that's all we had to report. Glad to answer any questions about the refunding, the use of the commercial paper program going forward, or the municipal bond insurance situation.
Thank you.
Larry, I got a quick question, and I know you mentioned it, but I just want to make sure for the record. There won't be a rate increase.
No, absolutely right. This has been
Wanna get that
built
clear?
into the rates. It's been anticipated for years. There's no rate increase.
Again, on the bond rating, that keeps us at where we're supposed to be, correct? Where we want to be?
Yes, we're expecting to meet all of our coverages, and our debt ratios are still in line. PUB is really in better financial condition than it's been in years. Lots of liquidity. Their debt position is very manageable. They're paying a lot of projects with available cash, so they're not borrowing like they maybe used to have.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Any other commissioner? Rick?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have the proclamation for Canine Brit. And I appreciate you won't talk out of line, Commissioner. I'm just kidding.
Members of the
Follow
City
the
Commission,
rules, guy.
in addition to the proclamation, would you consider moving up agenda item number 2-1, so we can get all
Sure. Yeah, we can do
this
both.
accomplished?
What's up, guys?
Okay. A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, recognizing K-9 Britt for his service to the citizens and city of Brownsville. Whereas K-9 Britt, an 11-year-old German Shepherd, was purchased in 1999 from Casburg Training Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and has been in service since that time. And whereas K-9 Britt has in his career been instrumental in the seizure of 30,208 pounds of marijuana, 1,308 pounds of cocaine, $376,621 in United States currency, 5 criminal arrests, and has further assisted in locating numerous illegal weapons. And whereas K-9 Britt is a 2006 winner in the Narcotics in the Texas Police Games, a member of the Brownsville Police Department's tactical team, and has received national certification with the North American Police Working Dog Association. And whereas during the course of his career, he has assisted numerous local, state, and federal agencies such as the DEA, FBI, U.S. Customs, Border Patrol, Sheriff's Department, Port Isabel Police Department, Los Fresnos Police Department, BISD, Texas DPS, and has made numerous presentations for schools and private organizations. Now therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby recognize and commend K-9 Britt for his distinguished career in sniffing out bad guys and illegal drugs as well. He and his nose will be missed. Done on this, the 19th day of February 2008.
Hey. Should have had him on your flag football team. Maybe you'd have won some games. Y'all want to say a couple of words, Mr. Lopez? Hey, what? All right, brother.
Mr. Atkinson, you want to say something?
Mayor, members of the City Commission, first of all, I would like to thank you for having us here, and my partner for recognizing my partner. I'd like to start off with thanking my chief, Carlos Garcia, for giving me the opportunity in 2001 to become a canine handler. It was one of the greatest positions that I've had here in the police department, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Working with an animal like this is just awesome, and I'd like to thank you, Chief. Secondly, I'd like to thank my instructor, Marco Huerta, for giving me everything I needed to know and the training to become a handler. Basically, my job is just to lead him in the direction, and he does all the work. He's basically a remote control dog and probably one of the best that we've ever had. So thank you, Marco. And last but not least, I'd like to thank Pam Rogers from Castleberg Canine Training Facility out of Alabama. She's the instructor where we get our dogs and where we purchase them. And without her help, none of this would be possible. We train under her system, under apprehension and narcotic work. So thank you, Pam. Once again, thank you guys. He really deserves it. I've been with him for a while, and
What are you going to do with him?
he's just gonna be a dog.
With you?
Yeah.
Stay at your house?
Yeah, he's in my house. He's gonna be staying with me and my wife. So
They'll continue to stay there.
yeah, and he's gonna stay there.
Thank you.
So thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, did you want to do action? They wanted to do number 21 because it
Okay,
goes with
we're
that.
not going, the executive meeting was done?
No, no, not yet.
None?
But they wanted to do 21 with this, as per Chief Garcia.
That's pretty much, that's considered action to retire the canine breed and
Okay.
award it to our
City Secretary,
let me
would you
read it,
please go
yes.
to 21 then?
Let me go ahead and read that. Consideration and action to authorize the retirement of Police K-9 Britt from active duty and the transferring of ownership of K-9 to Officer Eduardo Lopez.
Who to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Atkinson, second by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, I just want to say a little note about pets. pets are usually taken for granted as property, not as living beings. And this is a good example of the bond a human being and a pet have, and the love and care that's required of a pet. And I wish people were more responsible in that aspect here in Brownsville to care for their pets, because they're not just property, it's a living creature that requires our attention and our care and our love. With that, we want to, of course, appreciate what they've done for this pet and retiring it and giving it a good home. Okay, have we done all the proclamations?
No, we're right now at workshop item B, which I need to read.
Okay, please read it.
Okay, item B of workshop, discussion regarding Robert's Rules of Order.
Jim Goza, please.
They say you should never follow an animal up on stage, so you're never going to be able to capture anybody's attention. So I'm going to do my best, though. It's really not such a dry issue as you would think, Commissioners. The Roberts Rules of Order, as I've grown to know them a little bit better, actually do provide pretty insightful solutions for a lot of the problems that we have in here conducting business day to day that we hear about from the community members and other people who give us the feedback. And so I think that with the first time we talked about it, it was really more of just an overview, but now there are certain specific points that I think if we can adopt will really streamline how things go and make it a lot easier for us to do our business and get through the agenda. So it's just sort of I guess, Parliamentary Rules 201 this time, as I understand them. And start with the notion that really none of us, myself included, not least of all, should be talking unless we've been recognized by the chairperson. And that'll avoid any instances where you got people talking over each other and we're not able to make a good record and it's unclear what anyone's saying because several people are talking at one time. So just to reiterate that that's really sort of one of the hallmark features of the Roberts Rules is that there's a chairperson who presides, who should recognize each person before they speak, and that just ensures the order and the fact that only one person is getting to talk. Like right now, I'm hogging the microphone, but until I sit down, then no one else would be talking unless the chairperson, the mayor, recognizes them. And as I said, it's the rules, as I've gotten to know them a little bit better, are really insightful in terms of the way they offer solutions for problems when they arise. The rules themselves even have a mechanism by which they can be set aside for the purpose of making a deliberative decision among you all as policymakers, as legislative members. You can vote by a 2/3 majority to suspend the rules, to take action. You can't go outside the agenda and you can't do anything that violates the Open Meetings Act, but in the way the procedure that you follow and how you interact is subject to a lot of flexibility based on the majority and the 2/3 or 1/2 majority, depending on the case that you're looking at, of the commission. And provided everyone, or for the most part, most people agree on how things should be done, then there's a mechanism in the rules to do them that way. Certainly it starts with being recognized before anyone talks. The next thing that probably is important to keep in mind is the rules of order and the fact that any member of the commission at any time can make a point of order. And that goes straight to mayor as the chairperson, essentially like the judge for a ruling on whether the speaker or whatever's being complained of is in fact out of order. The chairperson basically rules on that and says, yes, that motion for order is well taken or not well taken. At that point, the member who's made the motion and who's raised the point of order can ask for an appeal of the chairperson by a majority vote of the deliberative body. The deliberative body can overrule the opinion of the chairperson about whether something is or isn't in order. That's called a point of order. It doesn't need to be seconded, and as I said, it doesn't go to a vote unless the mayor fails to acknowledge or declines to recognize the point of order, in which case it would go to a vote, depending on what the majority of the commission wanted to do. So that's sort of To the extent we get caught in a gridlock with differing opinions and different perspectives on the same issue, and especially if they're presented in a way that's argumentative or that overlaps with someone else that's trying to talk, then that's one mechanism that we can use to kind of clear the log jam and keep business on track. The other one is a parliamentary inquiry, and that's essentially the same thing, where any member can at any time ask for a parliamentary interpretation in order to basically just to ask, is this the right way to do it? Are we following the right procedure? Just make it up. Would it be appropriate to ask for a motion for adjourn now would be an example of a parliamentary inquiry if you wanted to make one. Those two don't need a second, don't need a debate. They go to, and I guess in my case, moi, since I'm the parliamentarian, but it would go through the chairperson, and the chairperson then would, in turn, would direct it to me, because he presides in all the motions and everything that gets done. I think those are, that's kind of an overview and two specific things that I think will help us. If I need to, I'll reiterate my opinion that that the spokesperson doesn't get under the rules, get to debate. I know I think Mayor, you may disagree with me on that, but that's how I read the rules, is to say that. And I think that a point of order would be a way of addressing that if any of the other commission members feel like that's happening. Hopefully that won't happen and we won't have to deal with that, but to the extent that I've been asked about it, I maintain that my position that the chairperson, as I said, is most instrumental in presiding over the meeting, entertaining the motions, presenting the motions, ruling on points of order. And then I would add that the chairperson is permitted to debate in the appeal of a rule of order. In other words, to defend your ruling, to say, no, this is why I think that rule of order should stand or not. And then again, the ultimate decision lies with the commission as a whole, who votes by majority vote to either acknowledge the point of order or to decline to acknowledge it. There are even more drastic measures contemplated in the rules entitled disciplinary procedures that are, again, usable by the majority of the commission should they feel like any one member is so far out of line that they actually have to vote to excuse him or to omit him from the proceedings. And they word it by saying that an organization has the ultimate right to make and enforce its own rules, and to require that its members refrain from conduct injurious to the organization or its purposes. No one should be allowed to remain a member if his retention will do this kind of harm. And so even that degree of judgment, I guess, is vested in you all as commissioners in terms of how you handle these matters before you and how you interact on those matters. It provides that, it constantly reiterates things, kind of counseling about how it's nearly always in the best interest of the organization to make every effort to obtain a satisfactory solution of the matters quietly and informally. We all know that. But then they provide actual procedures by which a person, as I said, it would be a point of order would be sustained in many cases repeatedly, at which time one of the members would vote to exclude to suspend the rule that allowed that person to continue speaking, and to vote to it would require a 2/3 majority of the commission, but you would actually be able to delete one of your members from participation under the Roberts rules.
Anyone?
That would raise issues under the charter and other legal issues about how far you want to go to apply that and so forth, but the point remains, in terms of handling your own business and the way you do things here in the commission, you also did adopt the Roberts Rules by ordinance, and you have that authority to use these rules in any way that's effective to guide your meetings and to maintain order in the meetings. So I hope that's insightful, doesn't cause more confusion or I guess dislike for the rules than is already there. But as I say, it's a mechanism by which you can kind of govern yourselves and how you conduct business. Those are the primary features of it. The mayor and the chairperson conducts the meetings, entertains the motions, recognizes speakers, rules on points of order, relays any parliamentary inquiries he doesn't have the answer to me, would allow someone to speak or not speak, to read into the record something or not read into the record something. The mayor, the chairperson, retains all of those powers as the person who's charged with kind of taking the higher role of presiding over the meeting. And you all, as the commission as a whole, as the majority of any 4 of you or 5 of you, as the case would be, has the ultimate authority even to override that and to express your own will in terms of following the rules and how the procedure should be followed in an orderly way that's consistent with these fundamental principles. And I put it on the agenda as a discussion item. I don't have anything else to really offer, but if there are additional questions or anything, I'll try to answer them.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Sir.
Thank you.
Okay, item C.
Item C, discussion regarding ordinance number 2008-1100.46, amending ordinance number 1100 by readopting the Heritage Plan and dealing with related matters, including $2,000 penalties.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, this workshop is to basically, just as a preview, to give you some idea of what the Heritage Council reviews annually as to put this plan together, as to which buildings will be upgraded from secondary to primary, and to work with some of the owners who are applying for state or federal status. This is an old Runyon photograph from 1914. The owner of this house actually resides most of the time in Austin. It's great to have people coming down here just to spend weekends and take an old house like this. And it's been entirely redone inside and out. I wish I had a picture to show you what it looked like in between, because in between, in the many years between 1914 and this year, that house fell into terrible disrepair. And so the owner of that house took it upon himself to apply to the state and got a state Texas Historical Commission designation, and is now applying to the National Registry to make it a national site. This is a small house at 130 East St. Charles Street. It was made a primary local this year. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. This is the Gladys Porter House at 2030 Palm Boulevard, which back in the 30s was a very fine example of Weslaco architect Newell Waters' handiwork. In fact, if you like to see what his buildings really look like, just look to the right when you go by there and go by the Lightner House. And that was also Newell Waters' house. This house keeps asking to become a designated historic site in the city of Brownsville. We keep denying it. The house has undergone so many changes that just destroy the idea of what it was supposed to be architecturally, and it completely destroyed its importance as an architectural resource for the city of Brownsville. The owner also understands that, but he says, look, I'd like to ask, and he said, I know it's going to be denied, but I'll ask anyway. He said, if I had the plans to the house, maybe I or the new owner, because it's for sale, would put it back. So if anybody wants to buy it, and we can find you the plans from Newell Waters from 1930 and put it back. The Colonial Hotel, that's down on 12th and 13th and Levy, actually. 12th and Levy. The owner has never actually appeared at any of our meetings to come to us to work with us to see what it would need to make any kind of designation, although he has requested it. And as is our policy, when anybody requests it, the Heritage Council reviews each and every one of them. The Tamayo store. The Tamayo store happily has been purchased by one of our favorite downtown people, Mark Clark, who, if you're familiar with the 409 Gallery, this is Mark's second building. Some people just get in the habit of doing this. Mark's going to redo that. He and his wife haven't decided whether they want to live in it, make it a Starbucks, or or a Cinema 10. But it's actually only half a lot. It's a very small building. But Mark will do a great job on that, and he'll get a 50% abatement on it for the work that he's already done. Now comes one of my favorites. This work started about 2 years ago. This is the internationally acclaimed Richard Neutra House on Paredes Line, also known as the Krager House. The city leased it to our friends at UTB-TSC for 99 years, and we thought the job might take 99 years, since 70% of the house was already gone. There was only 30% left, and basically the stucco was the only thing holding this building together. And the work proceeded, and God, I'm so happy with the next one. That's what it looks like now.
Where's this at?
Paredes line across from Bigos, pretty much,
Right across from
on the left-hand side if
before
you're
Dr.
going north.
Aquilani's office.
May I add, Pete? Peter?
Yes.
I'm here, city attorney. May I just add to remind the commission that maybe some of have forgotten that we actually leased to the college and retain the right to use the building from time to time to do presentations and workshops and stuff. So it'd be a facility that you all as a commission could consider maybe trying to use at times for different functions.
The university it's about 99.5% complete now, with except a lot of the furnishings were built in, and so they're still building in some of the furniture. It's very difficult, you know, it's easy enough to do, hard enough to do a renovation. It's even harder when you have the actual plans signed by the architect, because that gives you no leeway. You either do it right or you don't do it at all, which means you duplicate exactly what he did, stucco for stucco, nail for nail, piece of wood for piece of wood that he did in 1937. And the furniture is the same way, even picking the fabrics for the furniture. I mean, they've gone through the university, and Larry Loff and Dr. Martina have done an incredible job. What they're hoping to do with it when it's complete is, one of the things is to maybe do a resident architect program in it. And in other words, you would bring an architect who's in his final residence from another university, since our university does not as yet have an architectural program, and they would stay there for 6 months or a year and study there. And be able to work in that space along with some other things. And the university is also talking about some other partnership things with the city that perhaps we can do together. But they've done an incredible job with this. So we're now the poster child for restoring 1930s international homes. Even Dion Neutral, Richard's son, said nobody's ever done one in this condition, in this bad a condition before, ever. That's the Brooks House on St. Charles. Brooks House on St. Charles had been ignored for a while, and our heritage officer, Joe Gavito, sent the owners a letter saying, listen, either fix it up or you lose your abatement, which is what our practice is. We like to give people a chance and discuss it with them. Unfortunately, they never replied to Joe, but just before the deadline, all kinds of things happened. And at Christmas, we noted it was all lit up with Christmas lights, and the next morning, we noticed it had been repainted, the roof had been repaired, the fence had been repaired, and so it's nice to get that kind of response from folks on historic preservation. And all you have to do is kind of shake them a little and say, hey, you know, I think you've forgotten to take care of your place. And they did, and so they will not lose their abatement. The Aces store, that's been so well taken care of by Sam Pate for so many years. It's been in his wife's family. If it gets, Sam's one of these fellows that if a truck nicks the canopy, if an 18-wheeler makes that turn too tight, Sam replaces the whole canopy. If 2 feet of paint looks faded, Sam paints the whole building. And there's something that I hope you've noticed so far downtown. It's kind of hard to see on this, but right there's a little square sign, and you'll start to see them all over downtown. It's got a P and an arrow. This is an outcropping from the Downtown Redevelopment Advisory Committee, the DRAC, and one of our members, Larry Holtzman, especially noticed in other cities. He said, you know, you drive into Brownsville, and if you don't live here, you don't know where any of the parking lots are. He said, we should have signs up with arrows that point to the parking lots. So now as you drive downtown, you'll start to see directional signs. They're up on those poles, on the light poles. And it'll say, have a P and an arrow. And the next block will tell you where to turn next. And if you just follow those, you'll find all the parking lots in the downtown area. So it's really very simple now. We just didn't want people, we know how difficult it is to park. We hate people to not shop downtown because they can't find spaces when there are lots that have space in them. This is a very interesting place that probably we had never seen before, and I don't know if any of you folks have seen it. It's the Goodrich House. It's on Aryan Drive. It was built in the late 1920s or early 30s. When it was built, it looked nothing like that. It actually had Victorian turrets and looked like something out of Austria. And it was redone apparently, I think, in the 50s. But it's still a fascinating looking place. And this is the first time they've requested any kind of recognition, so it's going to be reviewed, and we're going to keep our eye on it.
Where's this located?
Aryan Drive, which is
Where's it?
Opposite Media Luna. It's on that off of Old Alice.
actually it was the only house, when it was built there, it was the only house, and it was surrounded by orange groves. And there's still a good number of orange groves around it, and maybe one or two other structures.
Orion or Aryan?
Aryan, A-R-I-E-N. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know,
It starts out on Oriole, and then it just dead ends, and you go through a gate, a
Yeah.
private gate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a black metal gate, then it becomes
Charlie's
Aryan Street in through there.
looks like Hollywood.
His neighbors.
It's really a great-looking place.
Ayala's neighbor.
That's right. Next door neighbor, yeah.
Like I've seen this before.
We should have brought a picture of, the owner found a clipping from a newspaper from the 1920s of what it looked like when it was first built, that what the prior owner had. It was unbelievable. This was a house this is actually the A's house on West Elizabeth, 1205 West Elizabeth, and the owner, is a new owner, suggested that we look at it and consider it. He hasn't done any work to the house yet, and we'll, of course, he'll probably ask again next year, and we'll turn around and reconsider it next year. So at this point, it has no historic standing, but we're going to keep our eye on it. This house, you're looking, why is this house on here? Well, this house is on here, it's known as the Pepto-Bismol house in the neighborhood. It's there because we are so confident that this house will become the stellar example of Dutch colonial because we have such faith in the new owner of this house, mainly because she's a city employee, and she's dedicated to this house and doing an incredible amount of research so she can put it back as close as she can to the way it was.
Who owns it?
Who owns it? I'm not at liberty to say, but if the person would like to stand. I guess she doesn't want to stand. Stand up.
Delina, that's who I thought it was.
Dr. Barrera.
See that smile from here.
That used to be the Reese's house when I was growing up. I don't know who, is that right?
Somebody else to do research for. Yeah. Because she's looking for old photographs of the house. It'll be a lot easier for her to put it back together. But these are not easy challenges, as those of you who've done it know, and those of you who don't. It's a challenge to do it, but they're incredible when they're done.
And I remember a screen porch with that house.
La Villa de Llanos complex, that's on the corner of 12th and Adams. That had gotten 100% for 5 years, and then as our practice is, when it does not have a state or federal designation, it goes off the 100% and reverts back to 50% for a year, and then it can apply again for the 100%. Or what we'd like to do, as in what we've encouraged this owner to do, and I think he's going to do, is apply for state designation, which that building certainly would have in 5 minutes, either state or national registry. And that would give him the automatic 100%, as long as all the 5 taxing entities every year renew the plan. Same owner bought this. Nobody is going to recognize this. Do you remember De La Rosa perfumes? It was, you'll excuse the expression, chicken fat yellow. It was the color of it. And the owner of the former place took it and started stripping it down back to the natural brick. And that's pretty much what it looks like. Now, what we found in the research, and he found, is that this was 2 things. It was one of the Ituria's stores. It's only a block away from their bank, so they probably used it maybe for storage or for extra office space. And it was also a military prison. And it is now a primary local site, and so it gets 50%. This is the Ituria, whoops, let's go back. The Ituria Bank building, it doesn't want to stay there, I can't blame it. But the Ituria Bank building, which basically we blocked. First of all, the only thing that's really left of this building, although it is a state site, is it's got just the facade is the only original part of it. And there was a new owner this last year, and he asked to be, to stay on the list. But he also listed tons of work he was going to do to improve this, to make it look the way it should look. He never did any work, nothing. And so the Heritage Council wisely decided to block it. Blocking it will get his attention when he gets his tax bill next year. Sometimes we get no response from people until we block it. And then when they see their tax bill, they say, what do we need to do to get it back on? Okay, well, here's the list of work you need to do.
There's no penalty for not doing anything and getting the abatement?
We remove the abatement.
No, but he enjoyed the abatement for a period of time till you removed it.
That's correct.
So you can't retroactively.
This was a new owner. This wasn't the same owner. It just changed ownership last year.
Okay, but you can't retroactively apply the tax loss because he didn't do anything?
No, we try and block them as soon as it's in poor condition.
So do you all enter into a performance agreement within a certain period of time in order to keep that?
We give them a certain
Payment?
period of time to come back to us and say what their plan is to fix it up. And as with the Brooks House, they just did it on their own, just from the letter. So we've been very successful in that. There's some others that have been blocked in perpetuity, as it were. The Tiarina House, 333 East Adams, because at that time it was for sale. There were 17 family owners that own that place. Nobody did any work, but it's a state site. It's been blocked for 20 years, 15 years. Although it's still a historic site, it doesn't receive any abatement, nor will it, until the new owners, which are part of the Tiarina family, fix it up. And we have the original drawings to that one, too. This one is on Sunset Drive. And of course, it's a fine example of where some of our more noted politicians lived, mayors and so forth. And what they've done is we've asked them to, they asked to be considered as a primary local, which of course would offer them some abatement. We suggested to them, which is what they are going to do, is apply for state designation. In fact, they have, and I believe, did they say it was? We were, Joe and I are commissioners of the Cameron County Historical Commission, and the word we got from the Texas Historic Commission is this was approved as a state site. So not this year, but the following year, it'll start to get its 100%. And Joe was good enough to take it on his own and help the folks at Guadalupe Church. If we can get back to it. And make them a primary local in time for their anniversary. It was their anniversary, Joe? 80th anniversary. And that made them very happy. They made it part of the ceremony. And so it meant a lot to them, and there's no reason in the world this shouldn't be a primary site. And of course, as with any city buildings or religious buildings, they pay no taxes in any case. So it's more just the honor of having the designation. This is 409, the gallery, as work just started on it, Mark Clark's building on 13th Street. This is what it looks like now. Mark has an opening usually once a month or every 2 months. If you're not on his mailing list, you should get on the mailing list. They've got some great art shows. In fact, he gets so many people at these shows. About, I think 2 times already we've had to close the street. We brought barricades and closed 13th Street at night for the openings because we had such an overflow crowd out that people were milling around out on the streets. And what we wind up with every time is every kind of person you can find. You've got merchants, tons of people from the university, artists all the way up from McAllen back and forth. A lot of professors, local people who are just interested in art, other artists. It's incredible, the crowds that he draws on his opening nights. Just a really great group of people. That's something that we've never had before downtown. So what we need is more people from the Smithsonian Institute to retire to Brownsville. I think that's the key. Mark and his wife are just fabulous. So. Unusual, you think, perhaps, to find some warehouses, but these particular warehouses which became secondary local, which gives them no tax abatement. It's just basically a note that says that they are historic and they're being well maintained. These are some of the nicest warehouses and better maintained warehouses. I wish they were all maintained like this out on Frontone. It's got all the old glass block in it. It has some nice brick detailing up on the upper left. And this one's got just tons of beautiful brick detailing. And they're just, I mean, they look brand new, unfortunately, but they're 1920s, 1930s buildings. And the owner's just done a great job of maintaining them. And probably one of the nicer jobs this year, everything looks great on a rainy day. I mean, with Film Commission, we always want to make it rain, so we bring out water trucks, but this one, I think it was just raining. That's the Lopez store across from Paro Furniture on 8th and Washington. Had been in that state probably 30 years. Nobody in it, no interest in buying it, until everybody knows SSP Design. We'd like to give the credit to Scott Pajeski and his wife Angel for doing that. And Scott moved his office from across the street into that building. And we're really proud to be able to send people to our landscape architect who's now in that building and done just miracles with that corner, considering what it was like. That's next to the phone company. And that's pretty much what we reviewed this year. We just thought we'd like to share it with you since you didn't want to wake you up early on a Saturday morning when everybody makes this tour. So, but you're welcome to come with us next year. They are public. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. It's a
Any
great job.
questions? Thank you, Peter.
Great work.
Okay, item C. No, that's it.
Items- We would
Okay.
go to executive session items.
Okay, let's go to, yeah.
Executive session item A, discussion pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code regarding economic development. Executive session item B, discussion pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding reasonably anticipated litigation.
Can I have a motion to enter into executive session? We have a motion by Commissioner Cisneros and second by Commissioner Atkinson. All in favor?
Aye.
All all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Let's move to executive session. We'll be back in a few minutes. Shouldn't take long.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
Honor the Texas flag,
to thee. Texas, one
indivisible under God.
Okay, the invocation, please remain standing. Father Jerry Frank, would you please lead us in invocation? That's fine. Wherever.
Lord, we ask that you send your spirit into the presence of all of us here tonight, especially the city commissioners, that they may deliberate, guided by your wisdom and be enlightened by you. Help them to make decisions that are going to help everybody in our community to have better and higher quality of life. May this be a meaningful and peaceful and united meeting. Take care of all of us and our families. We ask this in your name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Father.
Please be seated. Would you read item A, executive session?
Items discussed in executive session?
This is consideration and action regarding authorization of staff to
Item
solicit.
A. Consideration and action regarding authorization of staff to solicit proposals for residential waste management services.
Okay, based on the discussion, can I have a motion to authorize the city manager to continue negotiations with BFI?
I so move.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Garza. Can I have a second? Commissioner Atkinson makes a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
How many nays? 3. How many ayes?
4 nays.
4 nays? Okay, so it dies. Do we have another motion?
I make a motion that the city manager enter a 2-year agreement with BFI with a 30-day clause.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner Cisneros.
What's the 30-day clause again, real quick?
No, go ahead.
The 30-day clause,
I
what?
think we need a second
is
before
that
we
the
can
one we-
discuss.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah, but it
Well, I
can be
just wanna
discussed. It can be
clarify.
discussed.
After-
Do we have a motion?
Closing.
Okay. This is not a public hearing. We have a motion, we have a second. Am I right, parliamentary?
Yes, sir, you're right. Now you can discuss it.
Well, now we can discuss it.
Okay.
Okay? Commissioner Atkinson, you want to say something?
Yeah, as far as the 30-day clause, is that what you were talking about? As far
So.
as, which is,
It would be a 30-day clause for termination of contract.
okay,
The standard
No.
30-day.
okay.
And this will allow the city manager to negotiate or go out for RFQs?
No negotiations.
It's an extension of the contract.
30-day contract, okay.
Can
Uh,
the chair enter into discussion, or what are we talking about?
I was asking for a point of clarity.
He can formulate, he helps formulate the motion in the second and present it to the commission to vote. And I think that's what I understood he was trying to do.
I would like my motion to stand as it is, to enter a 2-year agreement with BFI with the 30-day standard, just your regular buyout clause.
Cancellation clause, okay. We have a motion by Commissioner, we already have the motion. He repeated the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All against? Everybody voted for it? Okay. Next item, let's go to Commissioner's report.
Item 2, Commissioners' report.
Commissioners, anybody have anything to report?
I have a couple of updates real quick.
Commissioner Cisneros?
I reported in the last meeting that Town North, the retention pond was completed. I just want to let everybody know that I'll be planning a ribbon cutting in the next few weeks, and I will let out the details so that everyone can attend this event. And let me see.
Perhaps you can give the information to Bill Young to help you with that.
Yeah, and we're working on it. Ben Medina's helping me out on that. And on the Paseo La Resaca, I sit on the pit board. I had a few presidents of the homeowners let me know that there was vandalism. And I talked to the chief, and we've increased bicycle patrol. That's it.
Okay, that's it. Does any other commissioner wish to say anything? Okay.
I have a couple of,
Okay. Please. Commissioner Camarillo, please.
This past weekend, had the opportunity to spend some time with the River Rockets. They are a nonprofit organization that is joining forces with the city to do some things out in the Linear Park. They're going to be working with the Parks and Recreation to help develop Linear Park and take care of it, and work with the homeowners and the businesses to adopt parts of the Linear Park. This past weekend, though, we were at the Trail Park on Alton Glore, and one of the things that we spoke about was helping, one, create more trails in Brownsville to do more walking, biking, increase tourism, at the same time focus on wellness. And one of the events that they had was a bike riding event, which Bicycle World taught kids how to change a tire, fix their flat, or grease the chains on the bicycles. I thought that was real interesting. And at the same time, they brought the families and the parents together to spend some time on a Sunday afternoon with their kids. And I think that's real important. So I want to thank them for inviting me. Cesar, who's the president of River Rockets, and George Vidal, who's one of the members, a good friend. And so I had a real good opportunity. I also, we're addressing a couple of issues on the Lakeside Boulevard. PUB has undergone some major water and sewage line work, and it's hurt some of the businesses around that area. Met with them 2 days ago, and we are addressing that so that their businesses don't get hurt, and yet we complete the job that we need to get done out there so that everybody could have better service in water and sewer. So that'll conclude with my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Camarillo. Commissioner Longoria?
thank you. I wanted to report and thanks to Carlos Lastra for the hard work that's being done to the contracting company at Harding Street. I think we're at 90% already on that street, and that's something that has been a long time coming to the residents on that street. And thank you to Mr. Francisco Trevino, who lives on that street, who keeps us in constant notification as to what's going on. And Santana Torres and the Public Works for all the patchwork that they've been doing around the district. And just an update on the project that we have going on with Drainage District Number 1. This is a project that we started with the late Pete Benavides, and we've continued with Commissioner Sofia Benavides. And they've already addressed, and they've already begun the work on several of the drainage ditches that we have within the area, specifically around Esperanza Road and around Olmito and all that area. They've already been cleaning them out. Those ditches are clean, and they will be on a rotation management now from month to month. And also the irrigation district worked in cooperation with this. We had some problems at Grant Street, and we talked to PUB already on the cuts, and that's been addressed. Hoff Street has been brought onto project already. We've been discussing with engineering to get Hoff. The citizens at Hoff by Acacia Lake had expressed some concern on their street, and that's been addressed. And thank you also once again to Police Chief Carlos Garcia and to the Southmost Community Center for the increased patrol around the area. citizens are starting to feel a lot safer with speeders and with the vandalism that's been going on in the last couple of weeks. Thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner Atkinson?
In my district, I want to thank Mr. Tom Riley from Rio de Sol for who keeps in contact with me about Rio de Sol over there. I know they're doing Rancho Viejo Boulevard over there. I know it's a huge project. It's a long street. I just hope the residents over there are patient because once it's done, it's going to be a wonderful street to drive on. So I just want to make sure y'all keep the patience over there. I know I get some calls over there and people want certain things done over there. We're doing the best we can with the crews we have. And I want to commend Carlos Lastra and the people at Public Works for stepping it up, you know, when we really need you. Thank you.
I want to thank all the city staff, especially Mr. Lastra and Charlie Kabler. You folks have done a great job. You finished Prize Road. I know we had a lot of calls coming in. When are you going to finish Prize Road? Well, thank you, Charlie. And thank you, Mr. Lastra.
You're welcome, sir.
Public Works.
Public Works. Thank you very much. That's it.
Commissioner Triani?
I just want to take the time to thank Mr. Goodman, Charlie, and Pete regarding some of the issues that they've helped me work on as far as the border wall and then also the PUB issues that we talked about today. Also, we've been working with the Cameron County and the University of Texas Brownsville regarding the use or promotion of a border levy reconstitution, and just thank you all for the staff and everyone else for their hard work. Thank you.
That's it? Okay, let's go to proclamations. Do we have any more proclamations?
We have a proclamation for Princeton Price Kids.
Okay. Is there anybody here to receive it?
Yes, there's some young ladies that are here.
Okay.
There are some people that are here.
Would you please come forward?
Do we bring the parents as well?
Yes. Sure.
Of course.
All the parents and the rest of the students, you want to come forward, please?
Oh, this was great. Congratulations, you all. Good job. You took Brownsville all the way to Princeton.
A proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, congratulating and commending students who were recognized for the participation in the Princeton University 2008 Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest. Whereas 5 students from Bastado Middle School and 2 students from Rivera High School have been recognized for their participation in the Princeton University 2008 Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest. And whereas the theme of this year's contest was immigration, and even though contest prizes are only available to New Jersey residents, these 7 Brownsville students were given the unique opportunity to write for the contest on account of teacher John Moore's blog being used by the university, and is the first time Princeton has invited out-of-state students to participate. And whereas Bastado students receiving recognition are Abigail Cabrera, Blanca Gonzalez, Melissa Guerra, Yesenia Martinez, and Vanessa Trevino, and Rivera High School students Alexa Mireles and Myra Flores. And whereas Princeton University honored these students by including their names on the event program and by providing gifts of recognition. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the charter of said city, do hereby congratulate and commend 7 Brownsville Public School students who were recognized for their participation in the Princeton University 2008 Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest. Done on the 19th day of February 2008, signed by the mayor and the rest of the City Commission. Congratulations.
Would one of you like to say a few words? Would one of you like to say a few words? No, but you can address the commission right now if you like. before you start, when I heard about this and I posted it on the agenda, is because you made us very proud. You took Brownsville to another level, and I wanted to make sure that you got recognized, because it's not every day that such young people that are bright be able to contribute to our community like you just did, even though you may not realize how much of a contribution you made. And we thank you, citizens of Brownsville, for what you've done and everybody associated with it. Please continue.
A world with equality and no boundaries.
Lower your mic so everybody can hear you, and state your name first.
My name is Melissa Guerra, and I am from the state of Middle School. A world with equality and no boundaries. This past week, my heart broke into pieces when I saw a group of men and women with their children walking down the sidewalk, making their way to find a shelter for the night. Other people driving by in their vehicles would quickly pull over and give them $1 or even $2 so they would at least get a meal. The immigrants would simply give them blessings and thank them for their good action. You could see from their clothes that they had risked their lives, since they were very muddy and their clothes were shaggy and wet. But their eyes were full of hope to find new opportunities in this new country, and they knew very little about, except the fact that it was a country that offered them a new life and the opportunity of a brighter future for themselves and their families. They knew what they were going to have to sacrifice in this country, to start all over again from the bottom and work themselves to the top. They seemed tired and barely managed to walk, but with determination they kept on searching for a shelter to maintain themselves secure and safe from the Border Patrol. When we were on our way back, I saw 3 cop cars and Border Patrol truck on its way where I had last seen the mojaditos. The immigrants were against the fence with their hands on their heads, and their eyes no longer gave that same look that I had seen in them earlier that evening. Now they were looking down as if nothing mattered anymore. Deep inside, hope was still alive, and I knew the Mexicanos would keep on fighting no matter how many times they got caught. The Border Patrol officers were checking what they had in their pockets. The look on their faces was very touching, and it made me realize how lucky I am to live in the United States. They were going to have to return to their country. The poor immigrants will once again be unemployed and search for a job that would bring a little bread to their table. In contrary to the applauded Abraham Lincoln and the honored Thomas Jefferson, the commendable Martin Luther King Jr. did not discriminate based on gender, whether they were female or male, their skin color was dark or white, or if they had a different godliness, culture, or heritage. He spoke out loud with no fear, and he stood up for what he believed was the correct choice. He fought with great courage and pride, defending all human races. Equality was his dream, and what he desired to accomplish in life. Sadly, we as a society haven't met his goal of having a world of peace and with no discrimination. Unfortunately, we the Americans believe that borderlines such as rivers and walls can set these two neighbor countries apart. But what we the Americans don't know is that the Mexican immigrants will always stand as one, no matter how many walls the U.S. decides to build. I admire Dr. King for standing up for what he believed in, and I truly think that we should all do the same, because the people have the last word and decision whether to set limitations or try to help each other and end this nation. If Martin Luther King were here, he would probably give this breathtaking speech that would encourage me and many others to keep on fighting against the immigration wall and keep his dream alive. His speech would be the following. I cannot tolerate what my eyes are seeing. What has happened to the word equal? Did it just vanish from the dictionary? It is very heartbreaking to realize that society is falling apart and that we no longer treat each other as sisters and brothers. Why should a cold steel wall be the reason for a separation of cultures that we have kept together for so many generations? I believe it is time to set a final word to all this chaos and to try to comprehend that the only thing the mojaditos are in search of is an exceeding future and a new tomorrow for their loved ones. Just like us, the only thing they desire is to be able to support their families. Some have even given up their lives and made huge sacrifices, which include leaving their homeland behind, so they could at least be able to send a little bit of money to their children and family. Why not give them a hand? Why be so mean and cold-hearted and ignore those who need our support? Why build a barrier instead? Is this the correct way of solving disputes? Boundaries should not be created, since the earth wasn't created or included with them. Why a border wall and why so much agony? Why cause so many tears of pain? But mainly, why lose so many innocent lives? Mexicans are only human beings who deserve the same opportunities as the rest of us. This situation has only inspired me to keep on giving my speeches and to encourage the mayor in his struggle against the wall. I ask myself why so many objections against each other and have to exist among us. As I mentioned in my speech, I have a dream. We need to demand our riches of freedom and the security of justice. In this case, meaning that no foreigner should get murdered or tortured for seeking his dream, because we have the rights of liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness. We must fight as a whole to make all those who believe in boundary lines and not in brotherhood know that a simple wall and a million more will not stop us from chasing our dream and coming to this land of liberty. The United States is called the land of opportunities by many who have reached their dreams and goals. If so, why are immigrants forced out of this country and often not given so many opportunities to prove all those who are ignorant that they are not in search of damaging the country, but the opposite? With these last words, he would conclude his inspiring speech. Each starry night, when I lay myself to dream, I pondered quietly about this chaotic world and what it has led us to be. I questioned myself by asking, what has happened to mankind? From my point of view, our Creator created us, but society developed the barriers. Ambition is what I blame. We were meant to aid and guide each other, not to be partial and segregate one another. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, do we have another proclamation, City Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a proclamation for Mr. Carlos Ayala.
Okay,
Mayor, it's not on the agenda, but
I think Commissioner Garza wanted to read the
Commissioner
proclamation.
Garza, out of the goodness of his heart, is presenting a proclamation to our Assistant City Manager, Carlos Ayala, who actually, it's his last working day today, but he's still on till the first week in March. And I appreciate the gesture, and I just want to make clear that he's still on the payroll, so if I have to call him back in next week or so,
You can call him back in.
he's got to come back in.
Thank you, City Manager. Commissioner Garza, would you like to read the proclamation?
Mr. Ayala, please.
Come on up.
Proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, commending Carlos C. Ayala Jr. for his contributions to our city. Whereas Carlos C. Ayala Jr. is a product of local schools, graduating from Brownsville High School in 1967 and receiving a Bachelor of Arts Community Service in Community Service from UT Pan American in 1972. And whereas Carlos C. Ayala Jr. has dedicated 20 years of his life to public service with the City of Brownsville, Texas, beginning with a 6-year stint as Police Department Jail Administrator, as Director of the Department of Health, as Director of Public Works, and for the past 4 years as Assistant City Manager. And whereas Carlos C. Ayala Jr. has devoted many years of volunteer service to various agencies and causes in South Texas, including St. Mary's Men's Club, Knights of Columbus, Valley Regional Hospital, Boy Scouts of America, Texas Solid Waste Association of North America, State of Texas, and the Cameron County Emergency Services District. And whereas during his tenure with the City of Brownsville, Carlos C. Ayala Jr. has been responsible for many positive accomplishments that have helped create a better quality of life for our citizens, and he will be missed. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, do hereby commend Carlos C. Ayala Jr. and wish him Godspeed in his future life and endeavors. Done on the 19th day of February 2008, signed by our Mayor, Pedro Mala, and all the City Commissioners. Congratulations.
Charlie, any parting words?
Carlos, is my mic on? Before you start, I just want to thank you personally for all your years of service and your dedication to this community, the city of Brownsville. And I know that every time that I called you needing something or guidance, you were always available. So thank you.
Okay, before you get started, let's give the commission the opportunity to say a few words to you. I guess Commissioner Camarillo, you're next.
Mr. Ayala, I don't think I could ever call you Charlie, as everybody else did. I could only say Mr. Ayala because just out of respect you for my family and your upbringing and all the things that you've done for the city of Brownsville. For me personally, I want to thank you. You guided me early on when I first got in, and you still do, and you've provided plenty of wisdom when it came to different issues, and I thank you for that. I thank you for sitting down and saying, well, this is what I think, and this is what we might want to do. Most importantly, I thank you for your friendship, and you will be missed. The city, I think, will lose a great employee, but the community will still have you here working some way, somehow. And with that, again, I wish you and your family the best, your sons, your wife. Well, I'm sure misses you just the same because work's been crazy, but thank you for everything. Thank you for everything you've done for me and for the city of Brownsville.
Thank you.
Commissioner Longoria.
Well, hermano, we're still going to see each other every day, but as the assistant city manager of the city, as the former public works director, I am honored to have worked with you these last 5 years, because coming in as a rookie commissioner in 2003, you were one of the key instrumental people in guiding me and in helping me with the decisions that we make every time we come up here and we sit at the city commission meeting. So on behalf of myself and my family, for everything that you've done for the city, for all the dedication that you provide for us on a personal basis, on a professional basis, I want to thank you for your friendship and for your guidance. And I want to wish you the best of luck in the new endeavor that you're taking on. And by no means has Carlos Ayala gone from this city or from our realm, but the best of luck to you in what you're about to undertake. And thank you for all the years of service that you provided to this city.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Atkinson.
Hey, congratulations on your retirement. I'm sure it won't be long. I'm sure you'll end up somewhere. And I just want to thank you for all the help you've given me when I came on board. And thank you for having your doors open to me and my family. Thank you for all the things you got accomplished, that I got accomplished for people out there. But little did they know it was Charlie Ayala and Mr. Cavler who really get the job done for a lot of things that we do for a lot of constituents out in the field. If it's not for these two guys, we wouldn't get anything done. And you kept your door open for me, and I got a lot of things done with your help, and I appreciate that. My family appreciates that, and good luck in your endeavors.
Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Amigo, gracias. Gracias por todo. Friend, thank you. Thank you for everything. You've been there for me, so has Charlie Campbell. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the advice. I wouldn't have done it without you. Congratulations, and wish you the best in your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Triani.
Charlie, I just want to thank you. I appreciate all your support and your family's support, and me and my family are just indebted, and really, congratulations. It's a great run, and I know you're not going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garza, for putting this up on the agenda. I think that's the least we could do for you, Charlie. I want you to know that you are appreciated. You are going to be missed. Personally, we have a personal relationship that goes back to our childhood. We grew up across the street from each other, and we get along so well because we would always be straight with each other. Sometimes we didn't agree, and that was okay. We knew that was okay, and we didn't have to, worry about it. Our friendship was always intact, and we made some good things happen. And I know that I'm not letting you go that easy. He's my chairman of my binational committee. He's very involved in the Weir and other projects that we will be doing with our neighbors to the south. So he is my right hand in that sense, and my personal assistant as a liaison with people in Mexico. He gets along well with everybody, and somebody I can trust, somebody that will tell me the truth, and somebody that will provide me guidance when I need it. And I look forward to continue working with you, Charlie. And I know the city is going to have a big loss because replacing you is not going to be easy. And we wish you the very best. I know you're not retiring, no matter what anybody may think. You're too young to retire, and you still have a lot of miles left. So, you know, you're just going to another chapter in your life, other challenges that I know you will do good at, whatever you decide to take on. You have a friend, as you've always had here, and like I said, we go back as childhood friends here and neighbors. And with that, we wish you well. And I know you're anxious to speak, so you have the mic.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for paying this much attention to me on issues. You call me Mr. Ayala, I guess, because I'm old enough to be your father, Commissioner. But I appreciate all the good words. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my family for putting up with me for these things. We figured that one of the biggest things that's happened to the City Commission over the years, and it really goes unnoticed, really, is when we got single-member districts. And you guys in the single-member districts, two at large, and he said, well, things will get better. He says, well, they got better if the meetings last longer. The percentage of the increase to the commission. But it's healthy because we've got a lot more ideas that have come up. Even though we don't agree on some of these issues one-to-one, but all together, when it comes together, it comes together well. I'd like to thank Mr. Kavler. He hired me for having enough faith. I've known Charlie since he was at the police department. And when I joined the police department, they hired me as a jail administrator. Way back, I had a lot of hair back then. But Charlie and I became good friends, and we're still good friends. And we got a good city manager, and I'm sure he'll pick an excellent assistant city manager. And with that said, I'd like to thank the public and all the people that have supported me, and those of you that I've been able to help. I was glad to help you, and those of you that I tried to help and couldn't accomplish your goals, well, hopefully the next assistant city manager will be able to do a better job. But to all of you out there, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And I'm not going away. You're right. I've got another job, but there's still some things that I want to do, and this is the right time in my life. You wake up, and all of a sudden you're at that age where you need to make decisions. But thank you very much to the city secretaries and all the other departments who are here. They've been very supportive. I try to get along with just about everybody, and I'll continue to do so. I'm going to continue as your civil service director until otherwise notified, and hopefully I'll be able to help you on some boards and things like that. Mr. Kavler and I will be in constant touch with each other as he's done well. He's done well for me. And I'm sure he'll do well for the next assistant city manager. Good guy, and thanks a bunch, and see you later.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, is there anything else as far as proclamations, City Secretary? No? Okay. Let's go to the public comment period. We have two, I believe. The first one is John Moore. Mr. Moore, you get a second bite at the apple.
Jesus often called the young people to him by saying, "Suffer the little children to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." He also quoted Psalms 8:2, which states, "Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise." Although I can't quote these lines to my students while teaching, they have helped guide my thinking as a teacher. A Among other things, they alert me to listen to the wisdom and insight that children often have naturally, some of which we as adults miss. These children here today have taught me so much about tenacity, faith, and life, and for that I thank them. My only admonition for the City Commission is that you fully consider and not disregard the perfected praise that has come to you out of the mouth of babes. Let no man despise their youth. Furthermore, knowing these students as I know them, I believe that we as adults must do everything we can to be as courageous, active, and tenacious as we can, just to keep up with them. In light of that, I ask the members of the Commission to join Lupe, Casa, Proyecto Azteca, Southwest Workers Union, and most importantly, the students, by supporting the March Against the Border Wall on March 16th from El Calabos to Brownsville, and any other peaceful, grassroots, direct action event supporting the preservation of La Frontera and preventing segregation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Mr. Matthew Webster. The third bite at the apple.
Mayor,
Welcome.
thank you very much. My name again is Matthew Webster, and I teach at Rivetta High School. It's a pleasure to be here within these walls tonight. Walls are made to support roofs,
I
not
thought
to
you were a
fight neighbors.
student. I'm sorry.
God bless it. Walls are made to support roofs, not to divide neighbors. Walls are supposed to keep out the rain, not hardworking students who earn 100% as English as a second language students and who dream of one day going to excellent universities. Walls are made to support a family, not to separate neighbors. Walls are intended to keep families safe, not to terrify immigrants and not to segregate nations. Walls have always been used to make a home, but they should never be used to keep out hardworking, well-meaning people who are just not lucky enough to live 1 mile north of the border. Walls are for hanging pictures of people we love, not to send a message of hate to would-be immigrants and to those who are legally here. The entire United States can learn ideas of coexistence, integration, and community strength simply by studying the Rio Grande Valley and the Brownsville in which we live. While politicians in capitals are debating the idea of some 12 million extra legal residents, Brownsville and other cities in La Frontera are living proof that 99% of these immigrants sincerely want to work and contribute to American community and economy. The very idea of the Secure Fence Act of 2006 is ignorant of the real contribution these immigrants make on a daily basis. My students, Alexa Morales and Mayra Flores, are the epitome of this. Both of them represent newly immigrated Mexican Americans who are highly successful in our system here. I have the pleasure to teach many talented and highly motivated students every single day as a high school English teacher and English as a second language teacher at Rivetta High School. These A+ students have dreams of one day attending some of the best universities in the land. A border wall, the border wall that they wrote against in the Martin Luther King essays on immigration, would separate many of these students from their parents, from sisters, and friends. This human element, largely ignored as people discuss the 700 miles of border wall, is why I am against the wall. Tonight I stand in support of this valley's mayors, politicians, and landowners who have opposed the Secure Fence Act of 2006 in any way, shape, or form. You and I both know that the money would be better spent on separating two nations and thousands of families could be better spent building homes in our city and on the border by the sea, the poorest city in the nation. Tonight I wish to invite you again to the border wall walk to show solidarity of the border communities and to stand up for these students who stood before you tonight. Thank you very much. Dios te bendiga.
Item 5, Susan.
Item 5, consent agenda items A through D.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Camarillo and second by Commissioner Longoria. Is there any discussion on this, any of these? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.
Item 6, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint members to the Airport Advisory Board.
Mayor, I put this on the agenda. I was given the names of about 3 people who are up for.
Would you please make the motion and then
Well,
we'll
the
open it
problem
up.
that I have is that I didn't receive their application, so I'm going to move to table this.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Triana Table, second by Commissioner Camarillo.
A discussion first?
Now there's a second, we can have a discussion. Okay. Commissioner Agassi,
just-
want to be recognized?
Yes, I do. I'd just like to advise Commissioner Charney, when we voted on these 3 people, or 2 people, I think were in question, back in December, and if you look at the tapes, and I talked to Larry Brown about it, these guys were appointed as new terms, not to fulfill a 1-month term. We did it, it was both the people that we put on that board, I specifically had stated that they would be starting their term back in December for the beginning of the new year. That's,
Okay, wait a second, Commissioner. City Secretary, was this researched?
Yes, in November, the particular candidate that Commissioner Garza had appointed, his statement was that he was going to serve out the unexpired term, plus be appointed to a full term.
I guess, so if there's any issue, there's any issue, maybe we should have the city attorney come back and report to what we should do on this, because I'm not familiar, and I don't think the entire commission is familiar as to what exactly said. What you're saying, that's based on one or both of them?
That's based on one that I'm aware of. We can do further research. I researched that one because Commissioner Garza had called me about it.
Okay, so you can do the research on the next one, and then get with the city attorney, and then he can come back. Is that okay with y'all?
Yeah, I don't want to be redundant. I received a letter from, I believe it was Larry Brown, and indicating there are 3 people who need to be reappointed, and I understood that they all want to serve. So if they want to serve, then I would like to have them, reinstituted if necessary. If
Because they
not,
can
then
always
let's
be
just go forward.
reappointed. That doesn't mean that they cannot.
But they were already, well, if it's true what they're saying, they were already appointed, so.
So if it's
Let's just table it. The motion is to table. Can we have a second? Is there any more discussion? Anybody against this?
No.
Anybody against tabling it? Okay. Can we, we have a
vote.
motion to table, a second. All in favor to table?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed?
Nay.
You have 1 nay to oppose, okay? City Secretary? Motion carries to table. Next item, please.
Item 7, consideration and action on the possibility of removing a Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation member and appointing a replacement.
Mr. Mayor, may I please, I put this item on the agenda, and I hereby make a motion that we appoint Ernesto Gomez Jr. to the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Garza to appoint Ernesto Gomez Jr. Do we have, to the GBAC board, do we have a second?
To replace Norma Harrison.
Do we have a second? Who seconded it? Commissioner Sisnetos seconded it. Is this what's being done procedurally correct? Yes, he's making a motion to appoint somebody that, has their term expired? Have they resigned? What's going on? He's saying replace Norma Harrison. Is there a vacancy?
are you supposed to be discussing?
No, I'm asking to him. I'm asking him.
Mayor,
Clarity.
I don't know if there's a person whose term has expired and if they're being reappointed. I have an additional question.
Well,
I don't
It says
know.
here
I'll
that
speak on it.
3108
Okay.
expires.
We have a motion with a second, so Commissioner Atkinson is recognized.
I just want to say something on this. Commissioner Leo T. Garza is real involved with what's going on in the airport. And it's in my district too, and him and I have been real active in what's going on at the airport and what GBEC's commitment to helping out at the airport. And I've talked to a lot of the board members there, and they did bring up some some concerns that I wish not to get into, but I'd rather just vote on it now.
I'm not taking issue with that. What I'm taking issue with, we're doing it procedurally was correct. In other words, is there a vacancy to begin with, or do we have to remove the person?
He said to remove.
Yeah, my motion is to appoint Ernesto Gomez Jr. to, for the 1 year that's left on Norma Harrison's appointment, and to include a 3-year term, just like I did with Ruben Rodriguez for the second.
Okay, that was different from the earlier motion, because you said replace, okay? And replace meaning there's a vacancy.
Exactly. He wants to remove and replace.
Okay, now that's different. There's a little clarity here. Okay, so he withdraws his earlier motion, and he's making a new motion to remove and replace Norma Harrison with Ernesto Gomez Jr. on the JIBIC board. Is that right?
Right, and
Second from Carlos.
So we have a second now from Commissioner Longoria on this new motion.
I'm asking for the floor.
Okay, now that we can have discussion. You want to be recognized?
I have a problem with what you're doing. I just, if it's okay with you, I don't want you adding, if he's gonna replace her for the year that's left, let him replace her for the year that's left. Don't be adding terms onto people's appointments. If she has a year left over and you want to give it to somebody else, give it for the end of that term. Don't be adding an extra 3 years or an extra term. I just think that procedurally, if you want to replace somebody for the end of that appointment, I think that out of courtesy, you should do it for that year, and then give this city commission an option at a later time when that appointment comes up again to appoint somebody, but don't be adding on extra years to the term. If you're going to do it for the expiration of the term, do it for the expiration of the term, and then when it's done, we'll come back and we'll vote again.
are you asking me to amend my motion then?
I'm not asking, well,
I amended to that.
Okay, so we have an amendment to the, well, before we get there, City Attorney, my thoughts on this is this. First, you have to remove the board member and give reason why, and they have to be notified. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mayor,
I don't think you did that.
No,
but how's it
I'm
going?
asking for legal advice, Commissioner, please. We just want to make sure we get it right, Commissioner.
Take the vote.
Do you want to run the meeting?
I'm running already.
Run for mayor.
Mayor,
because of the procedures he said to do.
Well, we're following the procedures. He is a person of authority that can give clarity to this, what we're doing procedurally right or not. And as chair, I have that authority to consult with him. Do I not?
You do, Mayor,
Okay.
and I hope I can give you a good answer. GBIC has independent counsel, Brian Janish represents them. Unlike the 4B Corporation, I'm not their attorney of record. I haven't kept up with their board appointments and how they're staggered or who's currently serving. I will always take the position because of the statute that they're governed by, that the city commission has the authority to replace those board members at will, and that's what the statute says.
Okay. As long as we're in compliance, that's all I want to make sure we're doing. Okay, that's all.
But I do agree, while, if I may, Mayor, to continue with Commissioner Longoria's suggestion that we simplify things procedurally by only making the appointment for the remainder of the term for the positions being appointed, and don't complicate things further by trying to extend a term that hasn't yet begun.
Okay, so we have to take a vote on the amendment.
That's correct.
Okay.
The
Mayor,
amendment
I
needs to be
have
seconded.
Well,
one question.
Yes.
Mr. Goza, if an individual is sitting on a board yet is going to be the possibility of suing the city, going against the city, is there a conflict of interest? Does that need to be considered? I'm throwing out a hypothetical.
If a person, there would be a conflict if a person was sitting on a board that had advisory duties like GBIC and also had a suit pending against the city, there would be a potential conflict there.
So that person gets appointed, then what happens if so that is occurring?
Well, it's always up to the individual with the conflict to resolve it. I would just give that opinion that there wasn't, again, this is hypothetical, but if I understood you correctly and that was the situation, I would give the opinion that there was a conflict, and I would suggest to the commission that that board member be replaced.
Commissioner, Mr. Mayor,
You finish? Finish? Okay. You finish,
Commissioner, you'll check on the first page of the application for appointment, where it says, do you have any litigation pending or completed within the last 12 months, either personally or professionally? It would affect your ability to fulfill the functions of the board or commission, and the answer is no. There's no conflict.
okay. Okay, so we have an amendment. The motion will read that Mr. Ernesto Gomez Jr. will replace Norma Harrison on the JIBIC board for the remainder of the term.
Yes.
Do we have a second for the amendment? Second by Commissioner Longoria as read. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? The amendment passes as read. Can we have a motion now to pass?
That's correct. That's what we just did.
No, the first motion, the mayor's correct. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I would move to
Please.
pass.
The first motion is to accept the amendment, and the commission has to
I'll
vote to
second it.
accept the amendment, which was done. And now it's up to you to vote to see whether or not you want to pass the motion as amended.
I move to pass.
We have a motion to pass the motion as stipulated and amended and seconded by Commissioner Atkinson. The motion was made by Commissioner Longoria. Assistant Secretary. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item, please.
Item 8, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2008-1100.46, amending ordinance number 1100 by readopting the Heritage Plan and dealing with related matters, including $2,000 penalties.
You want to run the meeting?
Go ahead.
Commissioners, we're happy
Now,
to,
we all can relax. Go ahead.
we're happy to come before you every year and give you the opportunity to help save the historic fabric of Brownsville by readopting the plan and offering the only incentive the city gives to folks who are willing to, for the love of it, save our history and our buildings. And so therefore, we ask you to readopt the Heritage Plan.
I make the motion to readopt, Peter. I'm sorry, I want to make the motion to close public hearing.
No, second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Camarillo to close public hearing and seconded by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
Move to approve.
Move
Second.
approved by Commissioner Troyani, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9.
Thank you.
Item 9, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2008-1429-B to consider the renaming of FM 511 I-69 Overlay District to the 042 Trade and Commerce Development Overlay District.
Good evening, Honorable Commission. For the record, Christopher Golding, Comprehensive Planning Manager, City of Brownsville. I'll make it fairly quick. What this is, the purpose of the ordinance is just like it is in the staff report, to change the name of the overlay district so that it doesn't indicate a geographic area, and it has a name that communicates clearly to business industry the scope and contents of the overlay district. Excuse me. The other thing is that when the overlay district was created in 2004, for some reason it wasn't assigned a letter and a number. Like you have the tourist overlay district's 051. So in this case, this would be the 042, and we change it to the Trade and Commerce Development Overlay District. In no way would it change the contents of the overlay district. It just of the ordinance. It just changes the name.
Great. Is anybody opposed to this? Anybody from the audience? Can I get a motion to close? Motion to close by Commissioner Camarillo, second by Commissioner Realty Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Anybody move to approve? Move to approve by Commissioner Cisneros, seconded by Commissioner Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 10, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2008-010 to rezone from light retail F to medium retail F classification, Lot 1, Block 1 of St. Luke Corner subdivision, and Lot 1, Block 1 of Isabella subdivision, Section 1, located near East Price Road and Old Port Isabel Road.
Mayor Pro Tem, if they could please read the following item, they go together.
Item 11. Public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2008-010-S to allow a light commercial specific used car lot in medium retail F area, Lot 1, Block 1 of St. Luke Corner subdivision, and Lot 1, Block 1 of Isabella subdivision, Section 1, located near East Price Road and Old Port Isabel Road.
Is anybody opposing to this? Is anybody here to speak on behalf of items 10, 11?
Mayor Pro Tem,
The applicant is here, but let me just briefly tell you what the property is, Mayor and Commissioners. This is the item shaded in red. You have Price Road and Old Portugal Road. This is a location of old Uncle Sam gas station. It's a case where applicant would like to have a used car lot. First, rezoning was to bring it up to a third commercial if approved, and then the second was a specific use. A specific use was important because the area is heavily trafficked. It's basically it's an entrance to downtown. The applicant did a good job of providing a site plan, working with staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission to adhere to our request to have a used car lot on this site. And
Is this the lot where the old
Uncle Sam gas station
right across? It's right there by St. Luke's, right?
Yes.
They want to put a used car lot there?
Used car lot, yes. And they submitted a specific use with a real good concept plan with landscaping. They're removing the gas pumps, of course, and that canopy that you see there, and utilizing.
What restrictions do they have as far as the car lot? I mean, what is it going to be a paved? Because this is in my district, man. I'm gonna have to speak
Yes.
up on this one.
Yes, Mayor Atkinson. Basically, it is paved because it was a gas station. They're removing this canopy. They've removed that. They would have more vegetation. They would not have this entrance here. The entrance would be here, and an entrance on the side of Price, and utilize this building here as a showroom. Also stuccoing the building to match the aesthetics of the bank banging across the street. So yes, I agree with you. When we first looked at this case, it was difficult because the city did a city-initiated rezoning to protect that
Yeah.
corner.
Planning and zoning went against it, or?
No, they supported the specific use because the applicant provided a lot of the amenities that we requested with the additional landscaping, closing of this entrance here, and landscaping that, removing the canopy, stuccoing the building, brown colors. Also, all the lighting would remain on the lot, that would be down lights, and more vegetation. And you have a site plan in your packet, and I think the plan is well on the screen. You see, there's additional landscaping. There's an entrance here right now. The concrete will be removed and planted with grass. The little convenience store that was there was going to be used for offices. Stuccoing the shell outside and opening it up with more glass to kind of fit in with the St. Luke's Church.
That's what I'm saying. It's right there, like St. Luke's, and it's a high, heavy traffic area. And
right.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
I don't want to see a car lot there.
Public comment. So you want to speak on your behalf?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this agenda item. I'm here on behalf of both OPI Properties, which owns the property, and English Motors, Inc., which will be using the property if allowed by the Commission. Stated by Mr. Medina, this has been an ongoing project which we've had for some time now. First, we acquired this property a couple of months ago. To date, we've put into about $500,000 into this property. First, we started out by removing the tanks by the only person in this region that's approved by the TCEQ, which was a big endeavor because, I mean, we took the risk of if there are environmental issues, we're going to fall on the sword. We're going to have to clean up those things. So we've taken out the tanks. Right now, we've obtained a permit from the city to remove the canopy, which is a true eyesore because that thing is falling apart. Really, it's even a risk to the area because it was completely rotted, and we're working on removing that right now. We've already painted the building, which was full of graffiti at the time. We're currently working on contracting someone to stucco that entire building. We're going to have a showroom in that area. We're, as I said, English Motors, which has been around for about 20 years, it would be the company taking over that area with the intention of having vehicles ranging from $15,000 to $40,000. So this is not the type of car lot that's going to have $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 car in there, a junked up car. We're not going to be unloading cars there. We're also adding a lot of greenery. If you look at a proposed plans, which are site plans, we're adding a lot of palm trees. We're adding a lot.
Do
of...
we have those site plans?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes. If you'll see, there are a lot of palm trees being added, a lot of shrub bushes being added, and just giving the corner a real uplift from what it currently looks like. I think it's been, I know because I live in that district. My parents live in that district. We live about 2 blocks down. That place has been an eyesore for about 2-3 years now.
You're right.
The prior owners were bankrupt and they just abandoned the property. We went in there were about 10 tacuaches in the building that we took out. And we also...
No tacuaches were hurt in the
No,
survey.
none were hurt. They were all treated in a humane way. And the one last thing that I will add is we removed the old car wash that was there. We tore that down. And lastly, we did speak with all the community members, with the banks, with the gas station, attorneys next door, the Easy Pond, and the church. And no one has objected to our proposal. And actually, we've received a lot of positive feedback saying, hey, I'm glad someone took over, and I'm glad someone's doing good with this place. And lastly, English Motors during the last years employs between 10 and 15 people a year. We look to employ about as many people at this location. With that being said, I look for the Commission's support in this endeavor.
Could I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Ben, and also let's include you. I see on his site plan that he has some greenery in front of the cars. Is that going to be oleanders?
They're a different type of...
What would you like there, Rick?
I wouldn't want oleanders for his business. I know that.
What does it have in South Coast?
We have concrete.
What type of
Strong
fence?
concrete.
They are both... they're going to be both palm trees, oleanders, and crotons.
Ben, my suggestion is that you look at an alternative for oleanders because we have oleanders on the PUB property by my house. And those things grow and grow, and when you take them out, when you deroot them, because they're so big, they keep coming back. And I think it's very unfair that what you're trying to showcase in your lot is your cars. And you're gonna have to be spending all this time on oleanders. I don't mind oleanders when we got big fences, but when his product is cars, and he's trying to showcase his cars, I have a very big problem with oleanders that he's gonna be having problems with, blocking the view from his car.
Yes, and I believe these are dwarf oleanders, but I think what the P&Z was trying to do here was that when you're driving by, you see the oleander, but you see the hood of the car, you see the grill and the tires.
It's how you
That's
work
aesthetics, you know, and that's what we're trying to do. You know, you match what even Stripes has across the street. And
Stripes isn't selling cars, they're selling gas.
But in this case, we're trying to just...
Can you just work with them to get rid of the oleanders?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Anybody
like
else?
a plan.
Move to close.
That's not a problem.
Move to close public hearing. Move to close by Commissioner Camarillo. Second by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I move to approve based on we take out those oleanders.
You're the chair, you
You're
can't.
the chair.
I'm not,
Oh, to replace the oleanders with another plant.
no oleanders. Anybody want to make a motion?
So,
I'll move to approve.
A second. Got a motion by Commissioner Troyani, second by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Charlie.
Aye.
Are you approving, I mean, if you could just at least mention the case number or so, that could be in the record.
If we could,
10
please.
10 11. Number 11, item number 11.
It was 10 and 11.
Move to approve item 10 11 by Commissioner Troyani, seconded by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item 12, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2008-011-S to allow a medium commercial specific use in a general retail G area, Lot 2, Block 1 of Black Tie subdivision, located near Price Road and North Korea Street.
Honorable Pro Tem, you have West Price and Korea Street. In this particular case, the applicant would like to have a party place. The PNC voted unanimously to approve this application. It is a specific use. There's a site plan with all the amendments.
Thank you. Anybody here to oppose that?
Move to close.
Move to close by Commissioner Camarillo.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Move to approve by Commissioner Camarillo.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 13, consideration and action on resolution number 2008-030 in support of maintaining a higher minimum wage requirement for all contractors doing work for the city of Brownsville.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Commissioner Leo T. Garza.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Good job, Camarillo. 14.
Item 14.
Wait a minute.
Is there any discussion?
I thought we were going to have discussion on this issue.
What, did you want discussion?
Well, it's already been with the first and the second. You can open it up for discussion.
Did you want to discuss something?
Well, actually, I wanted to bring some things out. I didn't want to just go through. I mean, I thought when we did first, second, then we'd have discussion.
Oh, you want to do it the mayor way?
No, the right way.
Well, I want to do it. Yeah, I want to do it properly.
Go ahead. We'll have discussion. Go ahead, Mr.
The right
Commissioner
way.
Camarillo.
I had first of all, this is something I decided to champion with Valley Interfaith. This is not something that I developed on my own. I want to go on record stating that. I very much believe that this is something the city of Brownsville should undertake. I think it's real. I think it's great for Brownsville. I think it's something that we need to show other communities that we support our city-owned employees, but at the same time we also support those that do business with the city. And therefore we should have, just like we take care of our employees, they must do the same. And part of the request by increasing the capping the minimum wage of those that want to do business with the city of Brownsville, it would be at $8.50. It would be for full-time employees. This measure wouldn't take place until July 1st, 2008, which allows us time to review our books and do things necessary to change purchasing clauses and things of that nature. This would not violate any of the federal regulations. For example, CDBG monies, FAA monies, or bus monies that we receive from the federal government. We cannot impose any type of a wage. We must abide by federal standards, and we would if this measure is approved. But I do know that there were some reservations and some issues that I know I couldn't answer. But I just want to go on record that this is something I think is extremely beneficial to each and every one of us, and most importantly to the people that do business with the city of Brownsville.
Well, I guess based on the fact that we've got some of
Charney, you've been recognized.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And I guess some of the concerns that I have would be some of the security contracts and other contracts that may be coming up. And I'd like to make sure that we're going to be able to be in compliance, and we're going to be able to maintain some of these contracts. And when it comes to the renewal phase, that we'll be able to budget for those as well. And so I'd ask that we have either a workshop or that we have some sort of review of what contracts this would impact, so that we can see if this is going to fit within our budget, and we can talk to Pete Gonzalez and discuss what the ramifications of this would be, because I think this is something that we would like to do. We've done it for the city and the city's employees, and we'd like to carry that through with our contractors, but we do need to see how this is going to fit into our overall budget.
Commissioner, I agree. I don't, I understand. We don't have that information. You're correct. I don't want to vote on something that could possibly have other issues at the end of it. I'd like to, one, get a unanimous vote by the commission. Two, make sure that we have all the information necessary to make a good decision. So, with that, I'll ask if we can go ahead and table, so we can get that information and put it on for the next agenda item, so we can officially pass it.
Then I'd second that motion.
Does that include, putting up a workshop or just a table?
Go ahead.
Or are you changing the motion?
You want to amend your motion?
So I'm
Yeah, he's already amended it.
All right, so,
We need to vote to approve the amendment as is.
we got a,
We made the motion.
He's already made the motion, we just need to vote.
okay. Made a motion by Commissioner Camarillo, seconded by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Now we need to vote to, I move to approve the amended motion as,
Motion by Commissioner Charney,
Second.
second by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 14?
Just be real quick, can you just note that the mayor's not?
Yeah, no, I do have a note that when he stepped out. Item 14, consideration and action on resolution number 2008-031 in support of restoring and improving the levee system adjacent to the Rio Grande River as a deterrent to illegal activity and as an alternative to the proposed border wall.
Commissioner Charney?
I would move to approve, and I'd also like to, after I get a, do I have a second?
A motion by Commissioner Charney, second by Commissioner Camarillo.
And just for clarification, I'd like to amend the agenda item to include flood control and illegal activity as an alternative.
Great. Anybody else discussion?
I moved to second, or was there already a second? I'm sorry. With his amendment.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Charney, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Then I'd move to approve the amendment and implement of the resolution that is contained in the packet.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Charney, seconded by Camarillo and Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 15, consideration and action on resolution number 2008-026, dedicating certain real property as new parkland to be used by the Gladys Porter Zoo.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission, Dr. Patrick Birchfield, Director of the Gladys Porter Zoo, will present this item.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, we have discussed this project over time. We're talking about the railroad property that currently separates the zoo exhibits from the zoo service and off-display animal holding areas. And by passing this, this will allow us to put this under our fence and also to create a new display which will be called the South Texas Discovery Education Center, featuring native Texas animals as well as a native botanical exhibit. This will also feature nice rest areas, green space for zoo visitors, especially parents with small children. This will be an outstanding addition to the Gladys Porter Zoo.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Cisneros and a second by Commissioner Charney. Any discussion?
Just want to say, Dr. Birchfield, thank you very much for working on this. I think it's going to be a great, fantastic new addition to the zoo, which is the highlight of Brownsville. So thank you and your staff.
Well, we appreciate all the hard work on the part of the mayor and the commission in helping the zoo, and that's why we have one of the best zoos in the country. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Items
All in
16.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 16, consideration and action to acknowledge the finance director's financial statement and cash investment report for the city of Brownsville for the first quarter ending December 31st, 2007.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Commission, please look at the binder that in front of you. I'd like to very briefly discuss the financial statements for the period ending December 31st. This particular report has 5 sections. The first section is a memo from the finance director, and then we have other sections like the balance sheets for all the funds, the income statements on section 3, for all the funds. Then you have the investments on 4, and finally on 5 is the capital projects. If you could please look at the yellow tab. I will briefly read to you a portion of the memo so that you can be familiarized, because we have changed the way we make presentations. We have a new system, and first paragraph on that memo says, the city recently completed the conversion of our old accounting system to a new web-based accounting system that we purchased from New World, a software company from Troy, Michigan. The New World System contract was awarded by the City Commission on September 19, 2006. City Finance and City IT staff began working with the staff of New World System right after this period, after September. During the implementation process, many meetings were held and plans were drawn to make sure that when we went live, the new accounting system would yield positive results. We spent months mapping the old system to the new system. We were able to capture and transfer 10 years of financial data from the old system into the new system. This required many months of training, verifying and testing, as well as long hours of city IT and city finance staff time to make sure that every financial transaction from prior years was secured. We finally went live with part of the new accounting system in January of this year, and so far we have seen positive results with some minor problems. One minor obstacle is that we have not been able to print the income statement in a condensed format. And that's the reason why you have quite a bit of information in this income statement. That we want to, obviously we want to give you a condensed statement at our next time that we present the quarterly reports to you. The New World Systems personnel are aware of this glitch, and they are currently examining and making changes to the printing program, since this system already allows either the condensed and or the long version. The software modules that we are currently using are the revenue collections, accounts payable, purchasing fixed assets, and the basic financials. We just started trading on the payroll and human resources software modules. So this has been quite a bit of work that we have had the last year or so, but we were able, like I said earlier, we were able to convert the old financial system into the new system. I have a PowerPoint presentation very briefly to go over some of the highlights in this particular report. You want to use the black one? I'm going to go very briefly because I know we don't have much time. But some of the areas that we have concerns with are the declines in the Veterans Bridge revenues. We're still seeing high medical insurance claims, and there's going to be some rate increases coming up for 2009 under our retirement system. This schedule shows the I lost it.
Okay, the new system.
This is the PowerPoint stuff. The 2000, well, I don't know. Anyway.
You really want to go home?
Yeah, it looks like it. The 2000, I may just have to skip schedule here. I don't know.
It's a delay, like.
Well, I don't know. Let me just go over what I have here.
you get it?
I'll go ahead very briefly here. Sales tax, for instance. Sales tax right now, we're at 7% above last year, but if you look at this particular schedule for January, the increase to the sales tax was only 0.66%. We had been enjoying the last 3 months high increases, and it sort of slowed down for the allocation that we got in January. So that's something that we need to look at very closely, the sales tax. And this is something that we have seen in the past where we had peso devaluation, sales tax actually went down. And that's happened in '94 also. We saw increases in 2003, and we've seen increases all the way to 2007, so that's good. The Convention and Tourism Fund has a balance at the end of December of $464,000. The community development, this is in and out, revenues and expenses, because it's all related to grants. The non-bonded debt, we have $109,175. The general debt service, $13,338,000. That's the fund balance. Payments were just recently made on our debt. There are 2 payments that are due in February and August. We made a major disbursement this particular month to take care of the principal and interest in some of our debt. The landfill tipping fee increase fine has, at the end of the month, December, $715,000 plus. Airport, there's a decrease, a loss of about $478,000. We all know that the airport has losses of about $500,000 every 3 quarters, so we're looking at a $2 million deficit between now and the end of the year, and that money is already budgeted as a transfer from the general fund. The bridge fund, that's another area that we have concerns with, because the bridge, the Veterans Bridge, shows right now decreases. We're at 13.62% lower than what we had for the same period last year. Traffic has definitely decreased. At our budget, we show 16%. So this obviously is a concern to us. The motor vehicle parking system had a fund of $389,000 balance at the end of December. Public transit fund, again, this is something we cover every time we talk to you about it. The federal government picks up 1/2 of the loss. Right now, the FTA has contributed $376,000, and the other portion has been contributed by the general fund. The golf course, right now, $234,000. This is the medical insurance fund that I spoke to you earlier. If you look at the fund balance on the 3rd column, it was $3.2 million at the end of fiscal year 2006. It went down to $2.5 million at the end of 2007.
Let me ask you something, Pete. I've talked to different people about the health plan that's here for the city. It's 90/10. Is that something that's getting the city into more of a debt thing, keeping it? I mean, I've heard rumors. I don't know. Maybe we can squash
That's
it.
something that we're going to be looking at very closely, because our claims are very high, and that's probably we probably need to change the plan, whereby maybe we can have a higher deductible and a greater contribution on the other part, which is the copay. In order to, we have seen problems in this area that we're going to have to look at within the next month or 2. And we've already discussed this with the city manager. We have an insurance committee that's going to be looking at this and possibly make changes for the next fiscal year. Finally, to make this presentation short, these are the investments that we are required to present to you on a quarterly basis, and those are the investments that we have. It compares 2006 versus 2007, and the total for the city is $113 million plus. We also invest for the BCIC, the PID, and the GIBIC. They are our component units for the city, and that's about $83 million. Also, at the very end of this particular notebook, it gives you on the last section, section 5, it gives you all the funds that we had on the capital projects. And since they're multi-year funds, this includes not only the current year, but all the years that we've had those particular funds. And this really concludes my presentation.
Okay, do I got a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
I got a move to approve by Commissioner, to acknowledge by Commissioner Charney, seconded by Commissioner Longoria to acknowledge. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I want to recall something real quick, Stella. Item number 6, as per Commissioner Charney, I guess he found the applications that had been given to all of us. Do you want to elaborate?
I'd say that at this time I'd move to have John Reed and Christopher Houston appointed to the Airport Advisory Board for a full term.
The first term, or?
Can we do that, Jim?
First needs for the commission to vote whether or not they want to bring the item.
You want to bring that back?
Yeah, I'd like to bring it back.
I got a motion by Commissioner Charney to bring this item back, seconded by Commissioner Cisneros. All in favor?
Aye.
I got a motion by Commissioner Charney to appoint John Reed and Christopher Houston to the Airport Advisory Board
For a full term.
for a full term,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 16
We just did it.
or number 17?
Number 17, consideration and action to adopt budget amendment resolution number 2008-027 to amend the general fund by $114,260, which includes $39,260 for part-time positions for the Youth Recreation Department and $75,000 for legal fees under the General Services and Contingency Function.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, Honorable Mayor, City Commission. This is an amendment to provide funding for the Youth Recreation Department. They're all part-time positions, and also to increase the legal fees for $75,000. We recommend that this budget amendment resolution be approved.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Eggers, second by Commissioner Longoria. Any discussion?
I got one quick question. Pete, how many
Commissioner Camarillo?
part-time positions will be created with these funds? Do we know?
Yes, they're right here.
6.
6.
Any questions? We have a motion, we have a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries as stated. Item 18.
Item 18, consideration and action to adopt the revised plan of finance regarding the issuance of approximately $5.2 million in general obligation bonds for street construction and approximately $23.2 million in certificates of obligation, which includes $6 million for airport projects, $3 million for sports park, $11.6 million for streets construction, $1.7 million for public works equipment, $350,000 for one fire department apparatus pumper, plus $50,000 for 2 fire pickup trucks, and approximately $500,000 for police building remodeling and equipment purchases.
Didn't we already vote on something like this?
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is an amendment to what was presented to you at our last meeting. What we have added is $5 million for the Morrison Road construction. It's either on the east side or the west side. This is something that came up last week. We went over the numbers to make sure that whether or not by adding another $5 million, what impact it would have on our debt service tax rate. Our financial advisors have worked on this, and by restructuring some of the existing debt, we are able to provide zero increase on the debt service tax rate by having this additional $5 million. Now, this would probably be the last addition that we can make, but there are some bonds that are being refunded, and they're about $7 million. And so by refunding the old $7 million in bonds, we'll be able to move some of the payments at a later date, which would have a less of an impact on our requirements that will be coming due. So those are the projects that actually, if you looked at that list, what was added was the $5 million. It's listed as $5 million for the Morrison Road project, and we have that is either on the west side or on the east side. I believe the city manager will make a determination, more or less, where this particular funds will be used, but something that we need.
And there's no hope to get reimbursement by the state or anything?
I'm going to have the city manager answer that question.
No, Mayor, our indication is if we do it, we'll get reimbursed. The idea is to negotiate with TxDOT and see if possibility exists that we can go both ways and offer some of the funding that will assist us in both. But we need to obviously have a bargaining power.
Is this for the west side or the east side only?
The concern is to get both done, Mayor. Obviously, we have done a lot of work to do that, and TxDOT lost some funding. We're having funding issues. So we're negotiating with them, trying to discuss the idea of possibly getting both done. Now we'll have to make a decision of doing the east or west, because they're about $5 million each side. But if we can work with TxDOT and utilize a portion of it for each side, we might be able to work out good.
Okay. Can we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second by Commissioner Marillo, motion by Commissioner Atkinson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 19, consideration and action on resolution number 2008-028, authorizing publication of a notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation not to exceed $24 million.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, by issuing certificates of obligation, we are required by law to have two publications. We have the first, if you approve this particular item, we will publish a notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation this coming Sunday, February 24th, followed by March 2nd of the second notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation. And this must be done before the certificates of obligation are sold.
We're not gonna be committed to raising taxes or anything.
Based on the restructuring that will be done by refunding some bonds that have call dates, we will be able to maintain the same tax rate, debt service tax rate at that, assuming that we have a 5% also 5% growth on our property values, and we have been averaging about 7-8% every year, so we feel that we will be within the range of not actually increasing the debt service tax rate.
Motion approved.
Commissioner Atkinson makes a motion to approve, second by Commissioner Godia, as stated. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 20.
Item 20, consideration and action on resolution number 2008-029, expressing official intent to reimburse with tax-exempt obligation proceeds for costs incurred to construct street improvements, acquire equipment for police and fire departments, and renovate the police department building.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, what this resolution does is it allows the general fund to start spending money on this particular items that were just read to you. Street improvements, police and fire departments, they are trying to acquire equipment, and the police department is also renovating the old municipal court. And with this motion, will be able to use general fund monies to start some of these capital projects with the understanding that as soon as the CO proceeds come in, that we can use CO proceeds to reimburse the general fund.
Would approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Longoria, second by Commissioner Cisneros.
Actually, I made the motion.
Commissioner Camarillo made the motion, second by Commissioner Cisneros. Does anybody,
I just like to ask, I mean, I know that police department's been there forever. I know they want to make renovations and stuff like that, but how far left does this building have, chief, before we need to be like McAllen and get a nice new one for y'all?
Better go out for bond.
Huh? But isn't it to capacity, that building?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Garza.
are there any plans, Mr. Keller or Chief, in the future building a police station north of Brownsville, like where we have the acreage up there by the animal shelter?
A police station or community center?
Well,
Yeah.
I would say a main police station, a big
I'm
one, and
sorry?
then use this one, the downtown one, as a substation, and build a new one. Are there any plans in the future for that?
We have not made plans. I'm sure there would be plans in the future for another police department somewhere else. I don't know if it'll be away from the downtown area.
I can't
The
help.
plans
I
are
think
not
what-
the plans are not in the making. The reason we're renovating municipal court was relocated to City Plaza a few years ago, vacating a lot of that space where municipal court is being held. So that's the area we want to renovate for the police.
Commissioner Cisneros asked for the floor.
Yeah, I just want to say that something that we have talked about, Commissioner, and we're looking at maybe in the future. I guess it would be like a substation to the north side, Brownsville.
I hope it's in my lifetime.
Commissioner Longoria wanted the floor.
You need to understand, Leo, that and Charlie, you need to go out for bond if you want to build such a structure because of the money that we're going to need to build it. But are we going to be using, Santana, are we going to be using your crews for this remodeling? So that'll be at a cost savings also to us, Pete, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Commissioner Camarillo wants to say something? No? Okay. I just want to make one comment. Commissioner Axa says the police building's been there forever. He makes it sound like it's been there a long time. The one on Washington was the first police station. Remember that?
That's
Now,
where I
that's been
started.
forever.
I don't remember that one.
You're just kind of young. Okay.
1984. 1984 is when we opened up the police station.
So move to approve.
We already have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. The next item.
Item 22, consideration and action to award a contract for the El Paso Road sidewalk construction project.
I'd like to make the motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve. A second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, this is something I'd asked Ben Medina to be working on. I remember one of the residents whose neighbors, Pace High School kids, when it was raining, we're moving to her driveway because they had no sidewalks. So this is something I think is really important for the students at Pace, but also for the residents that want to walk to the park. And hopefully soon we'll be working on El Paso Road as a project to undertake because it's a badly needed road that needs to get considered. It's right next door to Pace. It's the road leading down to Olivera.
It's off of Los Ebanos, leading to Olivera Park.
Anybody else wants to speak on this? That's it. City Secretary, you got the mover of the motion and the second? You got it?
Padilla and Longoria, yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 23, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of one new model air automized paint striper for the Brownsville Traffic Department.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Atkinson to approve as stated, second by Commissioner Terriani. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 24.
Item 24, consideration and action to award a contract for traffic signal improvements at Price Road and Sloss Drive.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Atkinson, as stated. All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
I'd like to hear what the purchasing director has to say about this because of what this deal is.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, staff recommendation is to award a contract to the company by the name of Texas Diamond Construction out of West Leco for $61,625. It is important to mention that this project came in under budget, approximately $9,375 under the engineering system. And the completion time for this construction will be 90 consecutive calendar days, and the funding will be from general fund. So hopefully we can get this project in place right away.
Okay, any other questions from anybody? Okay, we have a motion to approve as stated in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, City Secretary.
Item 25, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of a new telephone system for the Brownsville Police Department.
Staff recommendation is to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and installation of a new phone system for the Brownsville Police Department to Verizon of Temple, Texas, for the amount of $291,196.37. Now, it is important to mention that this is a contract from a DIR contract, and basically this new system will replace a telephone system that it's been currently in place for almost 20 years. So this will definitely help the police department. The completion time for the installation of this system will be 45 calendar days, and funding is in place under the 2008 TOs.
To approve.
We have a motion approved by Commissioner Longoria,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Garza. Commissioner Camarillo made the motion? Okay, Commissioner Camarillo was a mover of the motion.
Got the blue?
Commissioner Camarillo made the motion, and Commissioner Garza seconded it. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposes? Motion carries. Next
Thank you.
item, please.
Item 26, consideration and action to approve the purchase of network security system equipment for the Brownsville Police Department in the amount of $18,077.60 to comply with the security standards as set forth by the Criminal Justice Information Services Policy.
Mayor, members of the City Commission, we need to reconfigure our current network security system to comply with the Criminal Justice Information Services Policy, so that in order we could access confidential information from NCIC and TCIC.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Terriani approved, second by Commissioner Garza stated. Any discussion? Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 27.
Item 27, consideration and action to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Brownsville Police Department and Cameron County, which represents the allocation of funds by the fiscal year 2008 WE&C program to the Brownsville Police Department in the amount of $54,000.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion to approve, second by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion?
It's a great program.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Motion
Chief.
to